Hey, what's up, world? It's your boy T Shrimp, everybody favorite baby daddy, the voice of the street, man. And today we in Colorado with it, y'all. So hit that like button, y'all, and subscribe to the channel. Be on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Help me get there, y'all. It don't cost you nothing to subscribe. Now check this out. I just said we in Colorado with it, y'all. Now we gonna be going over the story of Larry Hoover. Yes, that's right. I said it. Larry Hoover, the co-founder of the GDs, the Gangster Disciple Nation, y'all. Look, last September, Larry Hoover went back to get a time cut, right, under the First Step Act. Now, the First Step Act, for the people who don't know, is something Donald Trump signed in office when he was president last time. It's for people who have been over sentenced, and let's say you're getting older and you think you had too much time anyway, and they'll let you out. If you got Hobson's, you dying, you ain't got a son or something dying, something like that. So they use it, granted, to people, inmates that's getting a little older. Now, he went up for it, y'all, and just like the government playing shady, they did too. Well, he is going back to try it again, y'all. He is moving to have the judge disqualified because the judge was biased and he was inappropriate with some of the statements he made, y'all. Now look, one of the statements the judge have the nerve to ask Larry Hoover is, how many people do he think he is accountable for killing? Larry like, what? And he actually wanted to answer, y'all. So he going to have that judge removed. His name was John Baker. Let me see. John Baker. He trying to have him removed, y'all. And even through other people, they like, yeah, that was an inappropriate question to ask him because technically he haven't been charged with but one murder, and that's the murder he was charged with back in 1973, y'all. 1973, they gave him 150 to 200 years in 1973. They had broke it down where he should have been getting out after almost 30, 40 years or something. He got close to doing that, and would you believe they re-locked him up? The feds indicted Larry Hoover again in 1998 under the Operation Headache Act. They indicted all the GDs and charged him with running a criminal enterprise from jail. Now, how can a man that's in jail go to jail again? He ain't touched the street, man. He been locked up 51 years, y'all. The man's 73 now. They so scared of his power and what he might do. They just really scared of Larry Hoover, y'all. They do not want to let the man out. So he moving. His lawyer put in a motion to have the judge disqualified, and they go hit a motion and see, and then they really should give him a fair shake. Come on, man. The man's 73 years old. He ain't finna come home and try to run nothing. Let the man live his last little days with his family and enjoy himself. Back in the day, he tried to change the name, y'all, to Growth and Development. And he was putting out a positive message. That's why the feds was nervous. He was telling the people to put the guns down and y'all start going to vote. He wanted the guys to start voting. And then it seemed like all of a sudden that's when they decided to indict him. Why y'all watching niggas in jail? Ain't there enough people on the street committing crimes? Well, y'all got to go follow a motherfucker that's in jail? Really? Stop playing, y'all. You know what that is. You know what that is, man. Gangster Disciple, man, the 6-point star stand for love, life, loyalty, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's what it stands for. If they stood on them principles, y'all, a lot of things wouldn't be like they are right now. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Have y'all heard about this, man? He just went back up, man. They put the motion in. Listen to some of the stuff they say about Larry, y'all.
The shocking true story of Larry Hoover and the Gangster Disciples. Published by All That's Interesting. The founder of Gangster Disciples, Chicago gang leader, King Larry Hoover only grew his empire after he was sentenced to prison in 1973. Just a few years after Larry Hoover helped found Gangster Disciples in Chicago, he was sentenced to 150 to 200 years in prison for a gang-related murder in 1973. It seemed unlikely that Hoover would ever see the outside again, but he didn't let that stop him from running his gang. Thanks to his ability to recruit new members from prison, his opportunities to keep in touch with underlings on the streets, and his promotion of nonviolence and community service, King Larry Hoover arguably became more powerful behind bars than he ever was as a free man. This is the true story of Larry Hoover, the gang leader who grew his organization to 30,000 members in multiple states and helped them sell more than $100 million in drugs per year.
Where's the money at?
How Larry Hoover became a gang leader. Born on November 30th, 1950, in Jackson, Mississippi, Larry Hoover moved to Chicago, Illinois with his family when he was 4 years old. He was just 12 or 13 when he joined a local gang called the Supreme Gangsters. According to biography, Hoover started out with smaller crimes like theft, but he eventually graduated to more violent offenses like shootings. He also made a name for himself as a natural leader, and he took control of the gang by the time he was 15. As the years went on, Hoover allied with a number of former rivals to form a super gang of about 1,000 members. He also changed the name of his organization a few times. By the late 1960s, the Black Gangster Disciple Nation, better known as Gangster Disciples, was firmly set in stone, according to Black Past. Though one of Hoover's allies, David Barksdale, was initially named the leader of the group, Barksdale was injured in a shooting in 1969. Since Barksdale was in no condition to lead, Hoover took control of the organization yet again. Before long, the Gangster Disciples controlled the drug trade on Chicago's South Side, and profits soared to over $1,000 per day. But Hoover's criminal activities and notoriety would soon catch up with him. In 1973, Hoover was sentenced to 150 to 200 years in prison for ordering the murder of a dealer named William Young. On the surface, it seemed as though Hoover's criminal career had come to an end, and that Barksdale would resume leadership after he recovered from his wounds. But by the next year, Barksdale had died from kidney failure related to the shooting, supposedly leaving the Gangster Disciples without a leader. Meanwhile, Larry Hoover was becoming ever more powerful behind bars. Larry Hoover's rise to power in prison. Sent to the maximum security Stateville Correctional Center in Crest Hill, Illinois, Larry Hoover made a name for himself there, in a positive way. Not only did he offer protection to other inmates, but he also impressed the prison staff members by discouraging violence in the facility. Guards were relieved to see that the number of fights and uprisings had gone down, and they soon began to see Hoover as a positive influence on other prisoners. But when the guards' backs were turned, Hoover was recruiting many of these inmates to join his gang. Hoover also stayed in touch with many members of the gang who were still working on the outside, and he encouraged his followers to move up in the world however they could. According to the Daily Mail, he even made education mandatory for all of his followers, telling them, "Go to school, learn trades, and develop talents and skills so that we will become stronger in society." Many people from the outside were just as impressed as the prison staff. They hoped that Hoover's good deeds would be enough to make him a free man, especially when he changed his group's name yet again. From Gangster Disciples to Growth and Development. Claiming that prison was reforming him, Larry Hoover changed the name of the Gangster Disciples to Growth and Development. Instead of encouraging illegal activities, this new group would promote social causes. Growth and Development funded a voter registration organization and opened a music label that donated proceeds to needy children. Soon, King Larry Hoover was the leader of a very different enterprise. He ran a clothing line, organized peaceful protests to protect publicly funded programs, and even encouraged his members to run for office. Though Hoover remained behind bars, authorities eventually rewarded his reforms with a transfer to a minimum security prison in Vienna, Illinois.
That's what I meant.
There, Hoover was able to meet privately with friends and family. He also wore luxurious clothing and jewelry and enjoyed much better food. But Hoover's public reform hit a growing criminal empire. As he applied for parole in the 1990s, Hoover was secretly running a massive drug empire that counted up to 30,000 members, according to the Chicago Sun-Times. The Gangster Disciples had clearly expanded far beyond Chicago, counting soldiers in multiple states, especially in the Midwest and Southeast. At one point, the gang was selling over $100 million in drugs per year. And unfortunately, the growth and development nonprofits that had attracted so much positive attention from supporters on the outside were actually fronts for laundering drug money, as biography reported. It took a 5-year investigation to bring the real operation to light. How Operation Headache exposed the gang leaders' activities. In 1995, a massive raid on the gangster disciples led to the arrests of 22 members, including Larry Hoover. Carried out by over 250 federal, state, and local authorities, this raid was called Operation Headache. The raid took place at the end of a 5-year undercover investigation. Apparently, some authorities had become suspicious of Hoover's rehabilitation over time. So they decided to investigate, wiretapping Hoover in prison, seeking out potential informants, and searching offices that were linked to the organization. Ultimately, they said that Gangster Disciples had never really stopped operating as a criminal enterprise. We have taken off the top echelon and we have bitten off the head of the snake, U.S. Attorney James Burns explained, according to the Washington Post. This has been going on for 25 years and we needed to attack at the top. This organization is going to be greatly crippled now. After Hoover was indicted on drug conspiracy charges, he was relocated to a facility in Chicago for his trial. In 1997, he was found guilty of the charges and given 6 life sentences, in addition to the 200-year sentence that he was already serving for the murder he ordered back in the 1970s. Following the guilty verdict, Hoover was transferred to ADX Florence, a federal supermax prison in Colorado that houses some of the world's most notorious criminals, including El Chapo and the Unabomber. While many authorities praised this decision, not everyone was happy with it. The ongoing efforts to free Larry Hoover. Since Larry Hoover had tens of thousands of loyal followers by the time he was caught running the gang from prison, it's not surprising that many of them would like to see him get his freedom. But Hoover also counts many people as supporters who have never been part of the organization. Some ordinary citizens, especially in Chicago, see Hoover as an inspiration because of his promotion of community service and empowerment. His emphasis on education and his public discouragement of violence also touch many. Though Hoover's followers didn't always align with those values, Hoover's supporters still insist that his heart was in the right place. Perhaps the most famous supporter of Larry Hoover is the rapper Ye, previously known as Kanye West. In 2021, Ye even collaborated with fellow rapper and former rival Drake for a free Larry Hoover benefit concert at the Los Angeles Coliseum, according to the BBC. Earlier that year, Hoover had tried to appeal his sentence, but a judge refused, calling him one of the most notorious criminals in Illinois history. While the benefit concert didn't change Hoover's status in prison, he has not given up on getting his freedom. Now in his early 70s, he's taking another look at his options for release, even though it's looking unlikely. According to the Chicago Sun-Times, Hoover even renounced his former gang and made a rare public statement that he is no longer the Larry Hoover people sometimes talk about, or he who is written about in the papers, or the crime figure described by the government. Depending on who you ask, Larry Hoover is either a new man who's learned from his past mistakes, or he hasn't changed a bit all this time.
You see that? All that. How you gonna give a man 6 life sentences plus the time he had already, y'all? Man, they really don't want Larry to get out, y'all. They really don't. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. You know, all that stuff she just read, I had already just spoken, you know. Because I had glanced over all this, you know. It's really a shame how they doing Larry, y'all. I mean, come on now. Enough is enough. Y'all can let the man out. It ain't like the man finna come home and start nothing. I think he actually do some good, y'all. Because he go try to stop the war. You know, and although we go still have young people doing that, but people respect authority, y'all. And I think people will try to give him a chance. It's either that or he had to hurt somebody, them little shorties. I think some of them will fall in line. You know, it is what it is, but hey, that's just my opinion. I'm older, you know, but I'm still younger than he. You know, I'm still younger than him, so y'all let me know what y'all think. You know, so he just put in the motion, y'all, to have the lawyer disqualified. Not the lawyer, the judge. And I think he got a good chance with that. But that he just don't get a new judge, and don't mean the judge got to do it, but they could. I don't know why not. What they'd be scared of. Hell, put an ankle monitor on him if y'all want to watch him like that. Period. They just don't want the man to come home because they scared of his authority, and he might get too big. He might get too big, and they scared if he get out and start organizing things, and he on a political thing, he can cause problems for us. We don't want him to go out there and wake all these knuckleheads up. If he start getting their ass in line, whoa, we go be in trouble. I would love to see him come home and just start trying to help the people to vote. Because a lot of inmates, y'all, or I won't say inmates, a lot of convicted felons, they come home and they think they cannot vote. And I done said this a few times. I'm going to keep saying it until y'all pay attention to it. You can vote when you get out of the penitentiary. Long as you ain't on parole no more. You ain't on probation. You don't have no open cases. And you have done all that. Then you can vote. All you have to do is re-register. It's just like getting a renewed driver's license. You have to re-register. And they go send you a voter's registration card. Look, voter's registration card. I voted this year, y'all. I vote every year. And guess what? I done been to the joint 4 times. 4 times. So I know. Trust me. I know. That's what I was showing a few people a year back. I think that was. This was way before the election. That was last year. I had showed people, and one of my subscribers like, don't show people your eye. They can see your address. Look, fuck that. I've been standing on the corner for years. We've been owning this house for years. Everybody know where I stay at anyway. People go to jail, come home 10 years later, and know I still stay there, or we own the building, so they know. They'll pull right up there and can look and find whatever car I'm riding in. If it got rims on it or tinted up, this got to be the G car right here. And most time they be right, y'all. They be right. And had 3 friends come home and pick out what car I was riding in. Look, ain't no rims on it. This motherfucker tinted up right here. This him. I'm like, damn, how you know this one? Come on, G. And I know your style. If it ain't tinted up or rammed up, G, that's you, man. You feel me? It's your boy G Shrimp. Everybody, Faith Baby Daddy, Voice of the Street. I'm a punch and I dig you later. I'm out of here.